Okay, so this is the first of 3 videos looking at mixing in Logic Pro. In this first video we're going to look at choosing an amp model for an electric guitar that's been DI'd, and the second video is going to look at balancing a mix, and the third video is going to look at EQs and processing. Okay, so this first video, all the 3 videos actually will use the same session, the Logic session. So the session is Lesson 09 Mitchell Valve Prolapse, which you can find in the usual place in your lessons folder in the CMS drive under Resources Logic 9 Files, Lessons. So open it, and before you do anything else, make sure that you save this, file save as, and save it to your location so you're not recording over the original template, which other people will need to use. So once you've done that, I'd like you to focus in on track 22 down here, which has got the electric guitar in it, and if we listen to the first part of this guitar, we can hear that it plays a few harmonics and plays a rhythm starting in the pre-chorus on bar 25. So we're going to focus on that pre-chorus and adjust the sound of the guitar. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a cycle area. So we're going to do this in a different way today. In the ruler up here, where we can see these markers, we're going to hold down Command and drag the pre-chorus marker just up here into the upper half of the bar ruler. So I'm just going to hold down Command and drag that up. Oh, no, didn't want to do it today. Okay, just going to select this area here and drag it up. There we go, and it creates a cycle region around that particular section of the song, which is obviously quite useful. So now when we listen to this, it will always start playback at the beginning of the pre-chorus, so that's really helpful for us when we're trying to preview particular sections of the track. Okay, so we're just going to solo the guitar by using the solo button in the track header, not by soloing the actual region. And let's just listen to that. Okay, we can hear it's very dry and very direct. So if we look over here into the inspector, we can see, if we just take these closest joiners up, we got no inserts or effects on it. It's just a dry recorded guitar. So in the inspector on the left channel strip, just here, we're going to click the first insert, and we're going to choose amps and pedals. So amps and pedals here, and then we're going to choose amp designer. Okay, the amp designer plugin is a graphic interface, as all the plugins are, and on this interface you can see the amp and its parameters, which are gain here, EQ, which we can adjust up here, reverb, and so on. There's other effects and things we can adjust. Okay, we haven't got time to go through and explain all of these things, but you can do that in your own time. Just have a play around with them, see what kind of effect they have on the actual sound of it. Okay, so this is modeling a guitar amp head. Okay, and there's lots of different types of models. So yeah, so we've got the parameters here, and on the right over here we can see the cabinet and the microphone. At the bottom, menus allow to choose a model and to customize the model by selecting the desired amp, cabinet, and microphone. So we can, here's microphone down there, different type of amp, different type of cabinet. The cabinet is the actual, casing. The microphone is the microphone, and the amp is this section here, the amp head. Okay, so from the model menu, we're going to choose British Blues Combo. Okay, so yeah, from here we're going to choose British Blues Combo. Sorry, model, not cabinet. Hello, British Blues Combo. So this brings up this British Blues Combo amp, and with this particular setting. Okay, and everything is revolves around that. Okay, so the character of the sound and the picture of the amp have changed to reflect the sound characteristics of an early British combo amp. Combo meaning combination of amp and speaker. Okay, so first we're going to dial in the desired distortion level. A great way to get a warm and thick distortion from early British amps is to use the power amp's distortion by raising the master volume. So on real amps, this creates the challenge of dealing with huge levels of sound, but on a model amp, you simply bring down the output. So at the bottom of the amp designer, we're going to turn the output down to -9 dB. So just down here, we're going to hold this down, take it down to -9 dB. There we go. And on the amp, we're going to turn the master volume all the way up. So the master is here, turn it all the way up. And okay, you can now dial in more distortion with the gain knob from the preamp. Okay, over here. So on the amp, we're going to turn the gain to about 9. So roughly about there. Inserting an amp designer plugin to your dry guitar track and choosing a desired amp model gives you a sound that's very close to the sound of a mic'd guitar amp cabinet, as they used to be. The model amp gives you the sound you want without the hassle of dealing with high acoustic sound levels in the background, and it gives us more flexibility for actually getting a sound we want. So it's really useful. However, don't restrict this plugin to dry guitar tracks. It can it can use it on anything you like. Drums, vocals. Why not? It's there. Or we can customize this. So let's try and customize it now. So from the cabinet menu, we're going to choose modern. Where is it? It's somewhere down here. Modern British 4x12. Okay, and so we can see now we've got a bigger cabinet over here, which is sporting 4 12-inch, we can see them just about, 4 12-inch speakers, and the guitar sounds bigger. It's maybe a little bit too bassy, so we're going to choose a different microphone that will help get a more focused tone. So from the microphone, we're going to, at the moment it's ribbon, and we're going to choose dynamic. So before you start to EQ to sculpt your sound further, you can customize the type of EQ you'll be using. So in this exercise, we're going to use an amp with the EQ section of another amp. So we can go to the EQ section up here, and we've got a drop down menu. Okay, so we're going to choose British Bright. Okay, so we're using the EQ of a British Bright amp. There we go, make sure it's selected there. And I think this gives us a fuller sound. Let's have a listen. Yeah, it sounds nice. And you can see that the EQ now reads custom EQ, which means we've changed it from what it originally was. It really does make a massive difference. If we listen to, say, US Classic, it sounds different. Boutique, which is more of a vintage sound. They just changing the EQ makes a massive difference to the sound of the actual amp itself. So let's turn the bass down a bit and turn the treble up slightly. So we can just turn the bass down a little bit, turn the treble up. Okay, have a listen to that. Yeah, it's quite nice. If we turn the presence up over here, just gives it a little bit more sparkle. Okay, let's turn that presence right up, so you can really hear how that sounds. It's maybe a little bit too much. I'm going to bring that back down. So it's nice and bright. And there's one other way we can sculpt the sound of the guitar, and that's by positioning the microphone. So we can we can drag the microphone by using this section down here. So see where this point is? We can drag it and move it around wherever we want. It's only over one speaker because all the speakers are the same, so we're just adjusting over one speaker. If you're in the center of the speaker, you get a more focused sound because high frequencies travel in straight lines and emanate from the direct center of your speaker cabinet, whereas the more bassy frequencies will be picked up on the edge. So let's have a listen to that as we're playing back. So you can hear how that also makes a massive difference. Yeah, it just gives a more gritty sound over towards the edge because it adds to the timbre and colours the sound a little bit more. Okay, so that's how we can change the different aspects of that. Okay, but the mic position, obviously, just like everything else, really does influence the way that the frequencies are generated by the cabinet. So if you're moving the mic off axis, as we say, like off away from the center, this tends to scoop the frequency spectrum, lowering the mid, so emphasizing the lows, whereas in the center we can emphasize the highs. Okay, and moving the mic closer to the speaker tends to accentuate the speaker's bass response. So if we're over this way, we're further away. And if we're over this way, we're closer. Let's have a listen to that. So that is in the centre, a little bit further away, not directly at the amp. Let's go from staying in the centre but moving towards the actual speaker to hear how that bass response is increasing the closer we get and increase that proximity effect. Okay, so the mic position really does matter. Okay, have a little play around with that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to click the reverb's on-off switch to turn it on. Okay, so up here we've got the reverb. That's on, that's off. We're going to have it on. As with the EQ section, you can click the reverb label to choose another reverb. So we're going to choose some different reverb sounds. So we enter the thing there. We're going to choose Mellow Spring. Listen to that. Okay, and just go through and choose a few. Bright Spring. And obviously you can change the level here. Okay, trick is with reverb, don't go too far, okay, unless you have got a specific section in the background of a track. But, you know, play with it, it's up to you, there's no rules really, it's just whatever works, works. Okay, so the best way to judge how a reverb affects the guitar sound is to toggle the reverb sound on and off, so we can listen to that. Okay, and that way you can really hear the difference. Let's just go back to the Mellow Spring and have a listen to that. Okay, so this particular type of reverb creates too much low tone rumbling. There's a lot of bass, which can be challenging when you later try to mix the guitar with the bass and the kick drum. We don't want it too muddy. So we're going to choose Boutique Spring Reverb. Okay, so here we go. Boutique Spring. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, this is nice and bright and sparkling. But we're going to go for a subtle effect. We're going to take it down to around about 2, maybe just under. Let's have a listen to that. And even on 2, it's enough. You know, that's more than enough. I'd probably take it down a little bit more. You just want to just about hear it. And even that, just on one, is quite enough. Let's listen to it a bit on and off. So even with that, it still makes a noticeable amount of difference. But the less reverb you add in, the less extra frequencies you're introducing to the mix, and you know that's a good thing most of the time. Okay, so a good thing not to add in loads of reverb to the mix. So, okay, let's add some more dimension with a vibrato effect. So we're going to turn the effects section on up here, just by going to on there. And you'll see we've got a number of different effects here. So we've got vibrato and tremolo. Okay, if we select vibrato there, the default is tremolo, which is rapid variations in volume, which is a more obvious effect than vibrato. This will allow you to hear and adjust the speed of the effect. So we're going to raise the depth so that you can clearly hear the effect, and adjust the speed to suit yourself. So we're going to click vibrato, and the vibrato is less pronounced than the tremolo, and you may have to toggle the effects section on and off switch to hear the vibrato and how it's adding to the sound. So let's have a listen to that. Okay. If we turn the speed up, we might hear that a little bit more. Okay. So the vibro effect is less pronounced than a tremolo. Let's close the Amp Designer plugin window now, and we're going to turn off the cycle mode. So press C on your keyboard, or click into the cycle mode there, however you want to do it. Let's turn it off, and let's just listen to that back now, so we can hear it. Take the solo off. Well, actually, leave the solo on. Let's have a listen to that. And we'll listen to it with the rest of the song. So it adds a little bit of extra thing to the song. Okay, it's nice and sparkling, nice and crunchy. Let's look at the pedal board next. So for electric guitarists, they normally like to have quite a collection of effects pedals, which they put on normally, which they attach to a board known as a pedal board. In the inspector, if we click the insert below Amp Designer, we can choose Amp and Pedals and Pedal Board. So let's go into there. Okay, the large dark area here on the left is the pedal area, which is currently an empty canvas where you can drag any effects onto it. So while in the real world you would typically process your guitar signal with effects pedals before it reaches the guitar amp, in the virtual world we're free to insert the pedal board and Amp Designer plugins in the order we want. So different orders will produce different effects. And in this case, placing the modulation effect after the amp's distortion gives a better result. So at the top left of the pedal browser, up here, we're going to click the Show All menu and choose Modulation. Okay, so okay, so I think we can see all of this here. But let's just say we only want to see modulation. So we select modulation. And only the modulation now, modulation effects pedals now are displayed in the pedal browser over here. So we can just choose between them. We're going to choose the spin box. So let's just drag that over into our area. And if we go back into our main area and click the cycle region again, and we solo our guitar, let's have a listen to the difference that's making. Okay, it's pretty strong, but you know, have a go at it. You got different types of cabinet here and things that you can choose from. So we're going to choose on the spin box. We're going to set the cabinet knob to single. So there we go, single cab, and we're going to click the bright switch to turn it on. So there we go. There's bright. At the moment it's off. Now it's on. Okay, the effect is now a rotating speaker. However, it almost hides the guitar and the tone of the guitar that you worked with in the previous exercise. So it'd be nice if we could use the spin box modulation effects without mangling your nice crunchy guitar tone. And there's a way we can do this. So we can use the Pedalboard's signal routing capabilities to mix dry signal and effect, dialing in just the right amount of the effect that you need. So if we move our pointer over this section up here, then we get this section come up, and this is the routing area's lid. Okay, so here's the lid, and you can see a rectangle representing your effect called cabinet, as the spin box emulates the sound of a rotating speaker cabinet. In the routing area, we're going to click the cabinet label. Okay. And when you click that label, the guitar signal is now diverted into two buses. Okay, two different buses. There's one, there's another one. And the cabinet jumps to the upper bus up here. Okay, and here we have a mixer pedal. And a mixer pedal is automatically introduced after the cabinet. Okay, so it comes in after the cabinet. Just there, so that you can mix the signal from both buses. So bus A, which is the lower bus down here, is your dry, crunchy guitar tone. Okay, and bus B is this upper bus, represented by bus B up here. So there, bus B is the wet tone, modulated by the spin box. So on the mixer pedal, we're going to drag the mixer fader down towards A. Okay, not necessarily all the way down, about halfway. And now it sounds a little bit better. That's just totally there. And if it's halfway, you can hear more of the spin box. Okay. At the bottom of the mixer pedal, we're going to set the mix switch to B. Just down here. So you can hear the bus B, and you can it's the 100% of the wet tone. Okay, it's heavily modulated, and the nice crunch from the guitar from the amp designer is muffled. Let's set the mix to switch A, and this way we can just compare easily. And now we can hear bus A, which is the 100% dry tone without the modulation. So set the mix switch to mix in the middle, and now we can hear both. Okay, let's close the pedal board for now. And okay, so you've got the best of both worlds here. You can clearly hear the amp designer's crunchy distortion mixed with the spin box modulation effects. But now we can lower the level of the guitar to make it sit in the mix and make sure it's not too high. So in the inspector, we're going to make sure that the E guitar is no longer soloed, and we're going to drag its volume fader down to minus 11.8. So just down to minus 11.8. There we go. Okay. So that leads us into the next section, which will be the next video on balancing the mix. Okay.